to our first delegation, and that is the City of Guelph Mayor, Cam Guthrie.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor, and through you to City Council staff and, of course, the public. I appreciate the opportunity to delegate tonight. As Mayor for the City of Guelph, I'm normally used to having people delegate to me instead, so I'm actually a little bit nervous. But I also want to acknowledge that you have an outsider delegating in your community, and I can understand how that may look and how it may feel to staff or the decision makers and council and to the community. But I do hope that my perspectives might help. I do want to try my best to address the situation that all of our communities are facing, especially urban centers, not as the mayor, but just as a fellow human being that frankly feels compelled to speak up when I know that other human beings are dying. That is my opinion and why we're actually here tonight. The first thing as a takeaway I'd like you to hear from me is that I once was like many people that did not want a safe consumption site. I dismissed them outright, claiming they'd bring crime, they'd increase policing costs, and that those people shouldn't be given free drugs, or these criminals deserve to be in jail and not supervised to just help them get high. I am so ashamed of myself for not just thinking those words, but I actually even said them out loud to others. Then one day I decided to put my opinions aside and to actually start asking questions about how such a site would be run, how much impact they really have on the community, and to seek answers as to how they might help people that use them. In regards to how these centers are run, really surprised me how much diligence goes into not only policy, but also the ability for the staff and management to have continuous open dialogue and engagement with the community if any of these issues arise. This has been true in Guelph. Not only was there engagement on how the center would open, but also there's been tweaks and full transparency along the way. I think that's an important note to take away. Secondly, in regards to the impacts of the community, one of the things that I noticed as the mayor, once the center opened, was a drastic reduction actually in complaints to my office in regards to discarded needles being found in other places. Yes, the issue might arise still a little bit here or there, but I would say 80 to 90% of that issue went away. And also, there has just not been the concerns from business owners, tourists, or other citizens to be a major concern for where the site is and how it's been operated. Our emergency services work very well with the center. And in fact, I can tell you that it's probably saved the taxpayers money by having that center there, because our emergency services aren't fanned out across the city dealing with issues like they probably would have to. And lastly, the third thing I wanted to say was what I wanted to know whether or not this place would actually help people. And you know what? The answer is yes. It helps people. They have dedicated personnel to help people with addictions. They create a relationship of trust that's built over time. And then that way they can get the help that they actually need. And just to give you a couple of stats from local here, we've had 219 referrals to mental health, 274 referrals to social services, 49 overdoses reversed, and out of a full year, only one person was transferred to the emergency department. Now, I know my time's coming to an end. I'm certainly available for any questions if you need me, but I can't leave here without asking the decision makers to potentially make a difficult decision that may go against the correspondence, the surveys, or delegations. We have a responsibility as elected officials over other people's money, but also on how we want to build our cities. And our cities are only as good as the people that are in them. We often talk about fixing potholes or fixing underground infrastructure or other city building. But how much more important is the infrastructure of people in our city? Should that not be the number one thing as an elected decision maker that we should be looking for? Tonight, this council has an opportunity to not be proud of just your economic development, not to be proud of all the awards in culture and heritage that Cambridge has. But tonight, I implore you that we in Guelph have had this site for 3 years now. 3 years of saving lives. Cambridge has had 3 years of not making a decision. I wish you all the best as you consider how you move forward.
Thank you, Mayor Guthrie, and I appreciate your delegation. I do have a question from one of the council members, and I'm just reminding members of council that they should be on camera during this meeting. Councillor Adshade, please go ahead.
Thanks, Your Worship. And Mayor Guthrie, thanks so much for coming in and making a presentation. I know you told us that you noticed a real decline in needle debris in the downtown core of Guelph. I was wondering if you could comment on the rate of crime and police calls to police in the downtown core before and after the consumption and treatment site was established in Guelph.
Certainly, and through you, Madam Mayor, to the councillor. I don't have actual numbers for you, but in my conversations that I've had with the officers that are on beat and on patrol and have a dedicated relationship with the site, they have not seen anything out of the ordinary of concern after the site opened compared to it was before. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I've got a couple more, so hang on the line there, Mayor Guthrie. Councillor Mann is next. Councillor Mann, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you, thank you for delegating tonight, Your Worship. We really appreciate the comments. You made a statement, and I didn't hear it correctly, I don't think. Did you say that over the course of the 3 years that the center has been open, that 49 overdose-related incidents, or you've reduced 49 overdose incidents?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, to the councillor. The stat timeline, and I should have been more specific, my apologies, was between April 2020 and March of 2021. So basically a 1 year time frame. And there was 49 overdoses reversed just in that 1 year time frame. So you can imagine I was trying to, well, first of all, that's a good thing. But secondly, you can imagine, I believe, how it's positive to have that done with professionals at the site instead of those would have been 49 overdoses that could have happened in a park, in an alley, in someone's home, in a car, like all across the city. Instead, it happened actually at the site and it was taken care of with care and concern for the individual.
Thank you, Your Worship. And just as a follow-up, you talked about an investment in our communities and investment in infrastructure and those kinds of things, but an investment in our community, investment in our people is an investment in the future of our community. And I can't agree more with that. Since you've been open, how many lives do you feel that you have saved through the implementation of this consumption site that you have located in Guelph?
So I don't have the exact number on that, but I would probably I'm sorry, my apologies, through you, Madam Mayor, to the councillor. I don't have the actual number on that, but I would refer you, though, back to the 49 overdoses reversed. I mean, that is a 1 year snapshot alone where those 49 overdoses may not have been reversed. But that's almost 50 individuals in 1 year that may have passed away.
And there's a lot more in the previous years as well. Thank you very much, Mayor Guthrie.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Up next, we have Councillor Hamilton, followed by Councillor Mehta. Councillor Hamilton, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. And thank you very much, Mayor Guthrie, for your time today and for delegating. My question to you would have to do with the area surrounding the CTS site. How have businesses responded to it? Do they feel the same now as before the CTS site was opened? Has business gone up or down? Do you hear anything about it? If you could comment on business and maybe your Guelph BIA, that'd be very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. And through you, Madam Mayor. And I believe later on, maybe one of the delegations might be the operator that oversees the site. And so she might be able to handle that a little bit better than me. But from a gut reaction to your question, my answer would be this. I would say I have not experienced in the mayor's office any type of influx with calls or concerns to me. And trust me, I hear them a lot. I would also say that the site that we have here has embedded wraparound services in it. And I think the success of the site has the wraparound services such as physician care, nursing care, other homeless stakeholders and agencies embedded within that surrounding care. And so that helps with more than just the site being for the safe consumption. So I would say that, have I heard of a couple of businesses that were upset, maybe some needles being left around? Yes. But what's interesting that I find, and I said this in my first point, is that when any issues like that has ever arisen, the staff that oversee the site, they are on it. They are on it immediately. They don't want a site that's not running properly. That no one wants that. So they are on it immediately. And anecdotally, as I said, also overall, the issues of like finding needles or other issues of that sort really did actually, in my world, actually go down.
Thank you, Mayor Guthrie. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next up, we have Councillor Urmeta, followed by Councillor Liggett. Councillor Urmeta.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Cam, for coming in to speak. I appreciate that. My question has to do with the length of time to get someone to treatment. How long does that usually take? And I guess this is after they've had an overdose. And how long are they allowed to stay for the treatment? And was the result successful in the sense that did they come off the addiction at some point?
So through you, Madam Mayor, to the councillor, I don't have those stats, but maybe Rochelle or someone else might have that. But I would say that, and this is part of the learning through you, Madam Mayor, that I sort of had to do. And I asked the same exact questions that the councillor just asked me. But what I was taught and how my thinking changed a little bit was that I viewed success only through the lens of now those people are clean and now they're off drugs and now they have a full-time job somewhere. And that's the only way to define success. And instead, I learned that success could be for the first time in years, that individual at the site has finally agreed to go and see a physician. Or the first time in years, that person actually opened up because of to a mental health counselor. Or the first time in years, yes, they did go to counseling. So those little tiny wins are a success, and they need to be celebrated for the individual that is caught in addictions. And those moments, so not the original defined moment of off drugs, completely full-time job, doing something completely opposite. Yes, of course, I think everyone wants to get there, but we need to celebrate the little tiny wins as well along that journey. And I find that journey only occurred in this type of a setting where the same individual staff members were able to build strong relationships of trust with their clients. Having them out on the street, having nobody, having no relationship, only trying to figure out how to get the next hit does not put them in the arena where that relationship of trust and the services are available.
Thank you. We'll go next to Councillor Liggett, followed by Councillor. Oh, I'm sorry.
Your Worship, I was just going to ask if I could just do a follow-up.
Yes, you may. I lost you on the screen there.
Thank you. That's my last two questions, which I'll do in one. And Cameron, if you don't have the answers right away, that's fine. I can appreciate that. But do you have the cost, like the total cost of the service, like that the taxpayers pay, as well as the total number of referrals? Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Your Worship, to the councillor. No, I don't have that offhand, but remember, the municipality does not pay for those services. It's paid for by the upper levels of government.
Councillor Mehta, you completed your questions? All right. We'll go on with Councillor Liggett, followed by Councillor Devine. Councillor Liggett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Cam. It's been a long time since I connected with you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
When you talk about the overdose reversals, that's inside the building. So when we look at the count of overdose reversals throughout the city, how many are outside of the building versus how many are inside? Do you know that?
You know, that's sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, to the councillor. That's a really great question, and it's just something I don't have that stat on, but maybe the delegation later on, that would be a great question for her. She may have it, I'm not sure. But I guess all I could say in response to that is I'm more pleased that a reversal of an overdose happened at a site with that care and concern of the people on site that were able to catch it immediately than to have it outside or elsewhere across the city, usually in the shadows, where that care couldn't have been given right away, and the outcome could have been much more devastating.
Okay, thanks, Cam.
You're welcome.
We have Councillor Devine, followed by Councillor Wolf. Councillor Devine.
Yes, thank you. And through Mayor McGarry to Mayor Guthrie. Mayor Guthrie, it's so first of all, thanks for coming. I think we all appreciate it to get your expertise on something that you struggled with personally. And when you talk about treatment, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. It's one step at a time, and it's baby steps. And unless somebody wants treatment, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's from my experience. But the question I have, it's more of a question, I think, with the people that use the facility. Any idea what percentage of those people are people that are housed and non-housed people?
That's through you, Madam Mayor. That's a good question. And again, I'm sorry, I do not have the answer for that. Like your city and many others across the province, I believe most of us now are using what's called a by name list. Mm-hmm. And the by name list for homelessness has reduced in Guelph over the last few years. However, I would say that one of the wraparound supports that a safe consumption site actually provides for the clients is the referrals to help with those types of housing supports. Again, you wouldn't be able to have the chance to have that conversation with those people often if they're not already walking in the door for the other purpose that they are there. And so by able to creating the creation of that relationship and trust over time, it opens up a possibility not only for their health care, but for their housing needs too.
Thank you, Mayor Guthrie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now Councillor Wolf, the floor is yours. Councillor Wolf.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and to you, Mayor Guthrie, again, thank you very much for coming. 3 years ago, I met you at your site and was very impressed by your staff and actually the people using the site. I was wondering, is your site open 7 days a week, and what hours? And what hours you would recommend that we would have a site for open?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I'm sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, to the councillor. That's a great question. I don't know those hours right off the top, but I'm sure the other delegation may have that. Well, for sure, she better because she runs it. So I'm sure she'll have the answer. And I do know that, of course, it would probably has a lot to do with resourcing, how much capacity they have for the hours that they operate. But I'm sure if Rochelle, I'm sorry, I didn't see your delegation list, but if there's a Rochelle on there, Rochelle Devereaux, she is the one that could probably be best to answer that question. And I don't mind saying this out loud, Madam Mayor. It was my willingness to ask questions and put my biases aside when I talked to Rochelle Devereaux. If it was not for Rochelle Devereaux, I would not have changed my mind and embraced the site that we have in Guelph for the last 3 years, saving lives now. So I hope she is there, and I hope that maybe you can ask her a lot of those questions, because she's just a blessing for our city, and she really helped me change my mind.
Thank you, Councillor Wolf. Any further questions? Great. I see no further questions. Mayor Guthrie, again, thank you for coming to delegate this evening. And I know that I have visited the site. I remember the first time when I went with Councillor Wolf and others, and you came in to speak to Cambridge Council and our staff about your site that had been operating already. And I certainly appreciate your interest in this item. Thank you. You can continue to follow along this item if you so wish at the City of Cambridge YouTube channel. Thanks again.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone, and take care. Bye-bye.